So,
why are we here?
We're here to look at Andres Serrano's portraits of homeless people.
In the subway of New York.
In the subway of New York.
Residents of New York.
I'll give you an alternate title. Andres Serrano's Bums of New York.
Why are they in the subway of New York?
It's a damn good question.
I'll tell you why. Because this is public art. This is meant to wake us up to the insane plight of homeless people in New York City.
And terrible, terrible work it is.
I think it's actually substantial, important, interesting, worthwhile.
I think we're going to disagree heartily, to be perfectly honest with you.
Project's here for a month.
Essentially photographs of homeless people. I think what we have to talk about is whether this is really properly sort of socially engaged art, which is what it's being passed off as.
Passed off? It seems to me that that's just what it is.
No.
Explain to me how this is.
They're pictures of homeless people, but it's not exactly about the problem of homelessness.
Wait a minute.
The amazing thing about someone like Andres Serrano, who's made his bones basically making shocking work, decisively shocking work, is that when he takes up themes, they often come off as issues. And there's that great line from Lou Reed, give me an issue and I'll give you a tissue. Blow my fucking nose with it. And I think this is what this guy's doing here.
I don't understand why this is trying to raise issues in any way that's not completely normal. Here's a big word for you.
Yeah.
Ready for it?
Go.
Ostension. Pointing the finger at something in the world. That's what art does.
That's
right?
absolutely right. That's true.
This is pointing the fingers at people who are sleeping on the street in sleeping bags.
For me, the issue here is that these are issues as opposed to actual people being photographed or an actual plight. And I find that tremendously problematic.
Okay, here's something I'm willing to admit to.
Okay.
Andres Serrano did giant, gorgeous, amazing photographs of shit. Turds, blown up huge. He's done photographs of dead bodies, blown up huge.
He's done photographs of naked people, the history of sex.
That I don't mind so much.
An old nudist with a young 16-year-old boy.
But to compare homeless people, in even my mind, with giant, gorgeously photographed turds or with gorgeously photographed dead bodies, that could be a problem for me. I have to forget his earlier art in order to appreciate these. What we're supposed to be looking at is goods that were being sold. And the fact that he's replaced the sale of goods with homeless people, for me, makes a big difference. That for me, works.
Well, you know, that's the thinnest concept I've ever heard, man. I mean, for crying out loud.
I haven't heard a lot of thin concepts.
Well, you know what? I've heard lots of thin concepts, and that's exactly Benetton's concept. Thank you, Andres Benetton. I meant Serrano. Because essentially, it's the same campaign.
No, Benetton is trying to sell us goods. He's not trying to sell us goods. He's appropriating the technology of advertising.
You're totally wrong. He's essentially he's appropriating whatever you call it, the technology of advertising, the format, to essentially sell himself.
Well,
which is where I'm going.
I grant you that may be a bit of a problem. I mean, he talks about them, and this hurt me when I saw it. In his artist statement, he talks about them as his muses. And that's a little weird, to talk about people sleeping on the street as your muse, as though they're somehow, what matters is what he does with them rather than who they are.
Okay. He can't get away with the kind of work, sensationalist work he was doing now. So essentially now what he's doing is work that has all the earmarks of sensationalism, but none of the punch.
So Andres Serrano, great art, masterpieces that express the verities of the human condition.
Bums in New York.